Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today we have the British cruiser defense. And I've been jokingly calling it Mini Nelson or the Monitor for you guys that get that reference. All right, kudos to you. Otherwise, no big deal. Let's get into it. This is a fun ship. Let's talk about commanders. If you had Azurlane Belfast, actually would be a good commander because of her base trait. The smoke firing penalty is rough on this ship. Now, that being said, I'm using Bruce Fraser. It's what I use on all my heavy cruisers for um, the Great Britain line. And we're using Membello and Kuzanov. You don't need this extra range, but it does come, if you want it, you can have it there. This is be the one I would switch out. Uh, and maybe if you have Belfast, you could also just put the Belfast base trait here. We're going to have Beyond Range, Igniter, Punch Through, and Fixated with Fully Packed. You could go reload and get these guns to cycle even quicker, but they cycle pretty quick. We're taking Fully Packed because of the health. So let's go ahead and look at your modifications. So Aiming Systems Mod 1. This does have, it is a British cruiser, so it does have the propulsion mod built in, quote unquote, but it doesn't really stop and start overly fast, and I think that's probably one of its bigger weaknesses. So we have steering gears because that's what we do have. For the third mod, we're using concealment. Fourth one, main battery traverse mod. Now, as you can see, I did put this one on for a little bit. And the reason was that is when I looked at the stats, the traverse speed with this is real bad, okay? And I thought, wow, man, I really should just use the gun control fire systems just to not get that traverse penalty. I definitely would go with the main battery mod reload. Why is that? Because the reload is just that handy. Also, this ship also happens to be the most accurate 14-inch or bigger guns in the entire game now. So I would not worry too much because they're all on the front. So I call it like the Jean Bart effect, where if all your guns are on front, they're kind of always where you want them. So the traverse speed isn't that absolutely nuts. I don't feel it as much as I thought I would. Also, I'm not like dodging and weaving a whole lot in this ship. I limit to who can shoot me. So if you're dodging and weaving a lot, you're gonna notice it more on that scale. So for the loadouts, you do have three really good heals that heal over 24,000. That's why you want the fully packed, and you can heal even like Citadel damage in this. So these are very good heals, like especially for a cruiser, if that's what you call this. As we go ahead and take a look at the sonar. Sonar is actually pretty good. I've actually used this a few times just to murder destroyers sitting in smoke. Because with these guns, if you do see a destroyer and you have HE loaded, you will absolutely wreck them. I have dev struck a couple destroyers on this thing. In fact, to the point where I even messed around with some builds. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And the smoke generator, you have 6 of them, but they're very short burst ones. And you got to be careful because you have a hefty smoke firing penalty. For survivability, this thing has it, okay? When I first looked at the armor, we'll talk about that in a second, I was like, man, this thing is going to be just a glass cannon. And it is, but it is much tougher than I originally gave it credit for. Not only do you have a decent amount of health, but you have them really good heals. This thing is awesome. I mean, there's not going to be much you're going to hear me say bad about this ship. I don't know what other people are saying about this ship, but I'm guessing really solid cruiser players really like it, or good players like it, and probably I'm guessing cruiser players that aren't too good aren't going to like it a whole lot. That's what my theory is. We'll see, though. Main guns. These is the bright spot of this ship. And to be honest, the entire game. These are the best guns in the entire game. And let me explain why here. The only thing these guns don't do is overmatch everything. That's it. Okay? You have the 14-inch guns. You have six of them. You only have six of them, but they reload so freaking quick at 15 seconds on this build. That's like a battleship having 12 of these shooting them off. So really, honestly, it's not a problem only having six. The range is really good, but the other thing about these guns is the turrets are slow, okay? Probably the only negative thing, I guess. I guess that not it doesn't overmatch everything in the game, but I don't really notice the turret traverse being as bad as what it is. Let's talk about this. The HE is quarter pen HE, meaning you can pen 89 millimeters armor. So basically everything but battleship belt line, armor belts. And the HE is fantastic. It's got good fire starting. And you would think, well, why is there any reason to shoot anything else? Because the AP is fantastic as well. And it has the British, I'm pretty sure it has the British short fuse. Because I have dev struck a lot of cruisers with this without overpenning. So I'm guessing this has the short fuse British AP in it. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm telling you, the AP is amazing in this. The HE is amazing. If you got in this ship and you only shot HE, you're going to have a really good game. If you got in the ship and you only shot AP, you're going to have a good game. It all depends on your playstyle. Now, I'm personally going to be showcasing a match where I show both of them. I showcase AP and HE, and that's the way I think it should be played, is switching your ammo types. That's just me. Now for the torpedoes, this is one thing I did not recognize very early, that these type of torpedoes have a whole lot of kick behind them, right? They're 21,000, they're very solid. I just assumed how good the guns were on this ship, and I looked at this, but I didn't really look at the numbers. Something I overlooked, these torpedoes are solid, and I call them reverse Japanese torp. So, like on the Japanese torps, on a lot of them, you can only shoot to the back half of the ship on the heavy cruisers. Well, the defense is the opposite. You're going to shoot the fire anchors out the front. And because I recommend playing this ship bow in a lot, uh, definitely that is handy. Having them torps face up like that, and that's a really cool little strength of this that now that I am aware of they're that good, I'm going to be using a lot more. AA defense, it's not great, but to be honest with you, once they drop their planes off, you're going to shred them. Uh, and because of the heals that you have on this, carriers aren't really a huge threat. Like, that's the one thing that caught me off guard. Didn't have a ton of carrier matches, but I will say, when I have, this thing can hold its own against a carrier because it can heal so much too. Maneuverability, pretty, I guess it'd be slow for a cruiser if that's what you call this. Turning circles good, and rudder's good. I mean, honestly, turning circles average, but for legendary tier, this thing is pretty shifty if you want it to be. I just don't think you should probably have that many people shoot at you at one time. You kind of want to limit who you're shooting at. Concealment is 10-8, but the big thing here is the detectability while firing in smoke. You actually, if you're firing in smoke, you'll get detected more than just driving around, which is interesting, but um, you know, pretty. That's the one thing with these smokes is you got to be pretty careful with them. If you get spotted while you're in your smoke, you know there's something in front of you, and then just take care of that problem. Okay. So statistics here, as you can see, pretty decent. Now I do want to say my actual numbers went down because what happened is I very much gotten this ship and absolutely demolished. I think I had after my first six games like 133 average damage and 1.1 million potential damage against me. And I was like, wow, this thing's really good. So I started doing other builds. I did a conceal build to try to kind of like get rid of destroyers and catch people off guard. Not, I mean, you can build the ship however you want, but I was unimpressed by this. This thing, in my opinion, really good at dishing out damage. If you do see a destroyer in this thing, the HE will absolutely wreck it. I've dev struck 2 destroyers with these guns on HE. So if there's HE or if there's a destroyer you thinking is close to you, have HE ready and you will absolutely wreck them. Now, so that being said, we have played 22 matches, 77% win rate. That would actually probably be a little bit better if I hadn't messed around my build. And 105,000 damage. Honestly, that'd be way better if I wasn't trying to do that conceal build and trying to be sneaky. I had a couple very lackluster games because of it. And as you can see, potential damage 900,000. So we're averaging a lot of we're taking a lot of we're tanking a lot of damage in this. And that's almost battleship numbers plus, guys. The big thing is I'm taking that amount of damage and I've survived 2/3 of my battles. Okay? This thing is pretty darn tanky, and I'm afraid when people look at the armor, they're just gonna go, "Oh my God, this thing is." You don't want to even get touched in this thing. That is not true if you know how to angle cruisers, because it does have cruiser-like armor on it. If you can angle cruisers, especially heavy cruisers, this thing is not going to be that big of a problem for you. Armor. You have a 25 millimeter bow, meaning everything over 14 inches can overmatch you. So you don't overmatch yourself, but battleships can, and there is a little bit of an issue with that because this thing has a pretty big citadel. Now, this has a turtleback armor on it. This is not going to protect you if you go broadside, okay? Like every ship in the entire game, if you go broadside, bad things are going to happen, but particularly this ship, because it is a big citadel, and if you're not angled, you are going to feel it. I can assure you of that, okay? Now, that being said, you're gonna eat some pins against HE. That's the one downside to this armor. You're just gonna eat a lot of pin, or a lot of HE damage. Now you can heal it all back, so it's really not that big of a deal. But if you are careful, you can actually angle this thing against. Uh, you can actually angle this thing and bounce shells off of it a little bit if you need to. So do not, like I said, do not like play this behind. I wouldn't play it just behind islands. I could see people doing that, but I wouldn't myself. Also, another thing about this, you have this flat part of the rear, right? So I would not. I've been caught trying to be dumb, running away, and because of this flat little section in the back, it is an easy way to get citadeled. I would not be backing up with it and trying to use it that way. It does actually have the turrets. They have good firing angles, so you could if you want. But not only that, but you're losing out on your ability to use your torps, and also you have this splash section back here. And I have been citadeled through the back a few times. I learned really quickly that I want to play this bow in. As we start the match, it's disclaimer time. This is a beginner's video meant to help people new to the ship or new to the game. This is not meant for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything in the universe. There are multiple ways to play and build this ship, and I am an above average player, not the world's best. I make mistakes. You may see one in this match. You didn't come here for pronunciations. I'm as good as anybody at slaughtering beautiful languages all the time. With that out of the way, we are on hotspot. And I wanted to showcase this match because I felt like it was a good combination of switching between HE and AP. Is this the most damage I have in this ship? No, I think I have like a 210 or something, 215. and I've had some solid 200 games in this. This match is going to showcase, I think, what is a good play for most people on how to use this, because I've been using this super effectively, putting like one island up against me. Also, because there's no destroyers, we're going to move forward a little bit so we can help spot right away. And we're going to try to get ourselves over to that island. Now, you want to be careful, but because the detection's really solid on this thing, which is crazy to me that the detection's this good on it, we're going to work over on coming over to this island, and we have AP loaded to try to catch somebody if they're not paying attention, because we're going to outspot a lot of stuff, including a Colbert, which I am waiting to shoot right now so I can get to a better position. But also because I'm guessing when he's going to get shot at, he's going to go broadside, right? Well, nobody goes to shoot at him. We're going to go ahead, take our shot, start to turn in here, and magic trick. You've seen a Colbert, now you don't. Oh, you can see just right there for yourself, AP solid, right? And we're going to stick with that. I throw up my smoke, make sure I go dark here quick. Just to make sure nobody's actually close enough to spot me. Obviously, in front of us, we can guess that's the defense in front of us. But you can see we do 10,000 damage right there to over 10,000 to Giuseppe Verdi. On AP, we take another AP shot because he's broadside. And we're going to go ahead and get a little bit more. So the big thing with this, guys, if you have somebody's broadside, it doesn't matter what it is, unless it's a destroyer. You 100% can use AP super effectively, right? And like I said, the guns are accurate. They're very good. The HE is very good. The AP is very good. There's nothing about these guns I don't like. You just gotta be careful. It's a very mid-range ship. Like, in my opinion, you do not want to play this in the back of the map at all, because it does take away from the power that these guns have and the ability to have the smokes, but at the same time, you won't want to be too close. So we see Yamato pop up here, and we're going to go ahead. We have HE loaded here, but we're going to see very quickly I switch over to AP, and we are going to do some damage to him as well. Now, I'm worried about somebody trying to sneak up on me over that right side. We're going to send Torps out of there so you can see these really good firing angles out of this. Another reason that playing this ship out in is a very good thing is these Torps can be really handy. And now that I'm aware of how decent the Torps are, look at that accuracy, by the way. Just like a dot. Oh, man. These guns are fantastic, and the firing angles are great. You don't have to have the guns turned very far in order to get all of them. As you can see, you can angle very well in this ship if you want. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold down the fort on this cap. And where we are, we're not putting ourselves in a bad position, and we're not in the back of the map. In fact, we're one of the farther up ships on this whole side, and we're being real careful and smart. In fact, we're not putting ourselves at risk at all. And this is what I would recommend doing, because you put an island to your left and you limit the side that can shoot you, and you can be aware of it. It is very easy to do a ton of damage. Like, all my good games in this, well, I've had a fair amount of them, but all of them, I'm putting an island to one side of my ship. And it's kind of weird because I don't really do that a whole lot. Sometimes I do. But this thing is very, very solid. And like I said, if you can limit who shoots at you, you can take damage. You just can't take the entire focus of an enemy team. But you can see we've got a permafire on Giuseppe going right now. And we're being a little careful how fast we push in, because I'm not sure where all their team is on this B side. And the last thing we want to do, because this is a close match, in fact, ships are tied right now, and we have we want to be very careful. We could lose this very quickly by rushing in. In fact, now we're losing on ships. So we got to be very careful. We do have 2 caps. You can see they were getting pushed on the B side around the back, so I'm looking to back up just because I don't want to push into all this stuff over here on the C side. There's a lot of stuff there. So I'm going to leave myself in position to help, but I want to back up to see if I can't help get rid of these battleships as well. And then Giuseppe shows himself, and we're going to go ahead and smoke up here quick, because if you look behind us, there is a battleship right there. We do not want to get smoked to him, so we're going to push back up a little bit. I'm not really worried about the defense. Obviously, he's got good guns. But we're going to go ahead and push up. And the reason is I was hoping our cruiser smoked up and quit shooting his guns and I could spot for him. I had the health to do that. He does, in fact, smoke up, but he is shooting his guns. So that is not what you want to do in this ship. He's going to get spotted, even though I'm out of the smoke trying to take heat off for him. And you can see we chunked Versepi. Now, I didn't shoot at Neptune because every time I shot, he got spotted. It was right after he shot. Now, again, showcasing switching over to the AP, and the AP's just fine. Oh man, I like this ship a lot, man. Now he is gonna start to heal. I know Giuseppe is lower health, but we want to get rid of Neptune there. He's more of the DPM issue. Giuseppe's not really that big of a threat. So we're gonna go ahead and go take our shot here. We have AP loaded. We're just gonna try to finish him off with the AP, and we do it with the first 2 shells, and that just leaves 2 people here. And we're gonna go ahead. And I didn't want to push up. I wanted these guys to push up into me. So I let my teammate know, hey, you shoot him to reset the cap. Because these guys have been here this whole time and haven't got the cap. They really tried to get it. So he does get the good reset on the cap. We're going to push up now. We got the defense and smoke, so he can't spot anything right now. So we're going to go ahead and move up, use the island. And we're just trying to be a little bit careful. We do not... Now, in my opinion, I switched to AP because I thought Azure was going to push, right? This is a bad play on his part. If you're losing, right, your last 2 ships, you really have to be aggressive and try to get some people off the board, not run away. And that's what I was expecting, so that's why I had AP loaded. Once I realized that, I switched back to HE. And you can see I've been switching back and forth the entire match. Battleships, whether it's battleships or cruisers, there's times for both of them. Right? This defense here is going to go ahead and about take me here in a second. Obviously, we're spotted. We do get permafire on a Azure here on this last shot. To really limit him. And also, so then we're going to have the HMS, or the defense here, go ahead and shoot at us. Now, this is the difference here. You could actually see we shoot HE, we get 2 fires on him right away. And we're going to go ahead and we have all 3 of our heals left, so I'm not even worried. I didn't want to rush in, but our teammate was moving up. So in order to help them out and have the possibility of crossfires, we are actually going to move up as well. I normally wouldn't like doing this, but we are in a position where he's got more health than Azure, I have more health than defense, and if the opportunity presents itself and we get crossfires, we 100% can. Now, I quit shooting my guns here because I want to sneak up on this guy. In fact, you're going to see I'm going to switch over to AP thinking, oh, I might get this guy while he's coming out of the smoke, or angling to our other cruiser to our right. We're going to put out some smoke now. We're close enough to it, and we're going to put out our sonar just because he may have put torps out in front of us. Not too worried about Azure in that fight to my right. Now that they both pushed up, neither one of them are going to... Whoever wins that's not going to have a lot of health, so I'm not going to be worried. Now, to his defense's credit, he doesn't get caught broadside, which is odd when you see what happens, but we do go ahead and get a good chunk on him. Now, We've switched to HG. You're going to see we have some pretty solid HE here, obviously. Even against the cruiser, we're going to do some pretty decent damage. And we will probably get a fire here. And meanwhile, he's getting a little bit unlucky on his shots. Now, he does the unthinkable, and he goes broadside. And to be honest, the Citadel is slightly up farther because of where the guns are. And you're going to see me make a little bit of a mistake here, right? Even at like 4 kilometers, you're going to see we have a good shot here. Just a hair back. We do get 3 full pins, so it's not like everything overpinned there. I just hit him too far back, and you're going to see I make an adjustment right now. And you're going to see I'm not going to make that mistake again. We're going to blap him right there, get a Citadel, and absolutely wreck him. Now, we did not get a cap in this match, right? And we're going to have a decent score. Also, 193 damage isn't too bad. But a 3,500 base score without having to get a cap. And we really just stopped everybody that tried to push against us. And that's really what you want to do with this ship. Anyway, guys, we really helped our teammates out. Let me know what you guys think of this ship down in the comments section. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, folks.